Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to the fourth part of my complete vinyl album collection. Now I showed last week some photographs of what I have to get through, so I'm going to do that again now. Now, as you'll probably have noticed if you watched the last video, part 3, I missed out a set of 6 cubes, even though they're not quite cubes. And so this is a big undertaking, and I'm going to continue with the Miscellaneous. And I left off at CL the last time, and I've still got some more CLs to do. So I'll try and race through these. So we have The Clash, and their debut album, an absolutely iconic album, although I've always thought there's a little bit of filler in this, but it does have Janie Jones' Career Opportunities, Garage Land, I'm So Bored with the USA, White Riot, London's Burning on it. It's a pretty damn good album, but I've always preferred Give 'Em Enough Rope, and as you can see the cover is actually torn, it got stuck to the back of the Clash album, the one I just showed. And this is the one with Safe European Home, Tommy Gun, All the Young Punks, Stay Free, Drug Stabbing Time. I think it's just a little bit better produced and fantastic album. So this is Give 'Em Enough Rope. The big one, London Calling, double album, iconic, their best album without a doubt, absolutely love it. And then we have Sandinista, which is a triple album, which is hard to get through. I think it would have made a fantastic single album and a pretty good double album, but as a triple album it's just too much for me. I think there's 36 songs on this, far too many. And then Combat Rock, which is highly regarded, although I think it's the worst of those set of albums. Side 1's pretty good. I've just never been keen on side 2, although I do like the track Ghetto Defendant. This is the one where Rock the Casbah, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Straight to Hell, and my favourite track is Know Your Rights. And then Cut the Crap from about 1985 or so. It's not great. It's like a Joe Strummer solo album. This is England's Fine, as is 3 Card Trick. And We Are the Clash is a bit silly. I actually prefer Sparks' version of We Are the Clash, but this never gets represented on any compilations. And talking of which, this is Hits Back, which is a triple compilation album, and this is absolutely brilliant, and there's nothing from Cut the Crap on this. It gives all the singles and many great LP tracks as well. Joe Strummer's Earthquake Weather, which is a recent purchase. Even though I had this on tape many years ago, I think it's a fantastic album. The world famous Coasters, the early 50s or late 50s group with Yakety Yak, things like Poison Ivy, Charlie Brown. It's a good album, but it doesn't have, sorry, I'm going to have to pass on it, which is a shame. The very best of Eddie Cochran. I'm not a huge rock and roll fan, as in Chuck Berry, etc. However, I do actually like this. It's got 3 Steps to Heaven on it, Come On Everybody, Something Else, and the other big one is Summertime Blues. It's a good album. Leonard Cohen, the songs of Leonard Cohen, from I think it's 1967. Very good album, especially things like Suzanne, So Long, Marianne, Sisters of Mercy. Hey, That's No Way to Say Goodbye. Slightly better for me is Songs from a Room, with Bird on a Wire, Lady Midnight, Story of Isaac, The Partisan. Very, very good album. Songs of Love and Hate, another good album, very similar to those first 2 albums, but this is the one with Joan of Arc on it, Diamonds in the Mine. New Skin for the Old Ceremony, not a bad album either. And this is the one with Chelsea Hotel #2 on it. And then Leonard Cohen's Greatest Hits, which is the very first Leonard Cohen album I ever bought. Then Death of a Ladies Man, which I think is a very good album produced by Phil Spector, and this does seem to get slated a lot, but I really like it. And then Recent Songs, which is almost going back to the way of his previous albums, but it's still a very strong album. I don't have the next one on vinyl, but I do have I'm Your Man, which has got First We Take Manhattan on it, and Tower of Song, 2 excellent tracks. And then this one, You Want It Darker, which I got a couple of years ago. It's alright, it's not that great. Lloyd Cohen, The Commotions, Rattlesnakes, fantastic album from 1984 with Perfect Skin, Forest Fire, and Rattlesnakes of course. And every bit as good as Easy Pieces with Brand New Friend, Lost Weekend, Cut Me Down, and the brilliant Rich from 1985. And then Mainstream, the third and final Lloyd Cohen, The Commotions album. It's okay, not as good as the other two, but My Bag's very good. Jennifer, She Said, Mr. Malcontent, good tracks. And the very best of the Commodores, which is a very good album, although it's on the Telstar label and there's 16 tracks on it. Some great tracks from the early stuff like Brick House to the ballads like Three Times a Lady, and still very good. I think Oh No's on this as well, one of my all time favourite Commodores tracks. The Comsat Angels, Waiting for a Miracle, is a very good album. It was BCLT from Mike PC31. The Comsat Angels, Sleep No More, which also arrived from Mike PC31, and this too, very good album. Third one, not quite as good, which is called Fiction. So those 3 albums from Mike, who's the biggest Comsat Angels fan I know. The English Congregation, or The Congregation, Softly Whispering I Love You, which is an absolutely fantastic album. It's got the brilliant title track, and then the next one is just called The Congregation, and this is very good as well, and some fantastic tracks on this, like All Things Must Pass by George Harrison, Day by Day, Love Song, the Leslie Duncan track, really good album. Not as good as the first, but The Congregation were like, you know, this singer, I think it was Brian Keith you called him, and this guitarist, I can't remember his name, but they were backed by an actual congregation, and they all did cover versions, but they're really, really good. Sam Cooke and The Man and His Music, double album of his greatest hits, is all I would need from Sam Cooke. Alice Cooper, Greatest Hits, excellent album with the brilliant Hello Hooray on it, my all time favourite Alice Cooper single. And we go into a wreck of Elvis Costello albums. My Aim Is True, really good debut. Not my favourite, but it's a very good debut. A Sears Model, and this is a reissue from the late 80s because it doesn't have that strip down there, and I actually prefer it like this, but it's a brilliant album with Pump It Up and I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea. Possibly their best, Armed Forces with Oliver's Army and Accidents Will Happen, really good. Green Shirt as well. And then Get Happy with I Can't Stand Up for Falling Down, and Black and White World's one of my favourites on this, and the other singles were New Amsterdam and High Fidelity. Trust, another very good album with Clubland on it, and Watch Your Step, very good track. Almost Blue with Sweet Dreams, and Good Year for the Roses, the country album. Imperial Bedroom with Man Out of Time, and Beyond Belief, and You Little Fool, very, very good album produced by Jeff Emerick, I believe. One that I'm never that keen on, but I quite like it now, and it's Punch the Clock, but it does have Every Day I Write the Book, which I think is brilliant, and I love Let Them All Talk, which is very Dexy's Midnight Runner-esque. One that gets slated, but I actually do quite like this, and it's Goodbye Cruel World, and it has The Only Flame in Town, I Want to Be Loved, and it's at Joe Porterhouse and the Comedians. Now, Joe Porterhouse was done by Tracy under the title I Love You When You Sleep, and the Comedians was actually covered by Roy Orbison on his Mystery Girl album. The Costello Show and King of America, a very, very strong album. And actually Nick Lowe recorded 2 of these tracks. He did Poison Rose and Indoor Fireworks, while The Big Light was covered by Johnny Cash. Blood and Chocolate, produced by Nick Lowe, a much harder hitting album, and it is excellent. Tokyo Storm Warning, Blue Chair, Battered Old Bird, really good stuff. And Spike, the one with Paul McCartney, Veronica, and it's okay, it's not brilliant. This Town's pretty good, Satellite's pretty good, but it's alright, as is Mighty Like a Rose, but this one has the fantastic The Other Side of Summer on it. It's a decent album. And then we get Brutal Youth from 1994, I believe, and this is a double album. This is really, really good. It's got Sulky Girl on it, and the other singles were 13 Steps Lead Down, You Tripped at Every Step, and I think there was one more. London's Brilliant Parade was a single. So Brutal Youth by Elvis Costello, and a compilation, 10 Bloody Marys and 10 How's Your Fathers. And in the UK, this is the only way you could get Radio. It's basically B-sides and a couple of A-sides that weren't on any albums. 1985 Best of Elvis Costello, and again this was on Telstar, but it's a good album. Now we've got a bit of Phil Coulter. He's you know him because he wrote a lot of hits in the late 60s and early 70s. He had a partnership with Bill Martin, so he was responsible for writing hits like Cliff Richard's Congratulations. He also wrote some hits for the Bay City Rollers. You would know his sound, but in the 80s he released some instrumental albums where he was just playing piano, really soothing music, and I have got a few of them, and the first one is the best one, and it's Classic Tranquility, which I absolutely adore. As he was sort of covering old traditional Irish tunes. The next one was Sea of Tranquility, which is also very good. Things like The Fields of Achonry and all that sort of carry on. My Lagan Love. And the third one is Phil Coulter's Christmas. These sold like hotcakes in Northern Ireland during the 80s, and any restaurant you went into always tended to play a Phil Coulter album. The next one is The Creation, the singles collection, and their most famous song is Painter Man, which was covered by Boney M. And this is actually a very good album. It's like a mod album. They are trying to sound like The Who, but it is very good. It's just A-sides and B-sides. I don't think they ever released a proper studio album. Then we go into the Creedence Clearwater Revival albums, and this is their debut. Decent enough, but I've got Put a Spell on You as the best track on it by a mile. And then Bayou Country, and this is the one with Proud Mary on it, which is a good album as well. And then Green River with this is the one with Bad Moon Rising on it, again very good, although I have to be in the mood for CCR. The next one is Willie and the Poor Boys with Down on the Corner on it, again very good album. Possibly their best is Cosmo's Factory, and this has got Ramble Tamble on it, which is absolutely brilliant. Travelling band, looking at my front door, long as I can see the light. Very, very good album. And then Pendulum, which is okay, but it's not as good as the previous 3 or 4 albums. I think my favourite track off this is I Wish I Could Hide Away. And then you have Mardi Gras, which is not very good at all, although it does have Sweet Hitchhiker on it, which is great. And I do like Hello Mary Lou, and I do like Someday Never Comes. It's just the fact is the rest of the band wrote songs off this which are not very good at all, not just John Fogerty. And then you get Creedence Clearwater Hits album which is pretty good, but there's about 20 songs off this, so it's all squashed together. And then we have the Blue Ridge Rangers, which I think now it comes under John Fogerty, but it's basically a John Fogerty solo album. And they do a very good version of Jambalaya on the Bayou on this. And the next one is the John Fogerty solo album from 1975 with Rockin' All Over the World, obviously done by Status Quo, and Almost Saturday Night, which was done by Dave Edmunds. And then the big one, Centerfield, which is a very, very good album, really catchy. The only track I don't like was the big hit in America, The Old Man Down the Road, too bluesy, but I love Rock and Roll Girls, Big Train. I saw it on TV, and the title track is a very, very strong album. Not so strong is Eye of the Zombie, although it's not a disaster, it's not great. There's nothing really that stands out on this. The title track is okay. But then one of the best ones is Blue Moon Swamp from 1997, and I love Southern Streamline, absolutely brilliant. And there's a little sort of acoustic one called Joy of My Life, which is great as well. Blue Boy, Hot Rod Heart, very, very strong album. Kid Creole and the Coconuts, Tropical Gangsters. It's a good album, and what's on this, again, haven't played this in ages. And I Am Not Your Daddy, and I'm a Wonderful Thing Baby, and Stool Pigeon. It's really good fun. The Cult and Dreamtime. Yeah, it's a decent album. It's got Spirit Walker on, A Horse Nation, and is there another big one off this? I think those were the only singles, but yeah, strong album. And then Love by the Cult, and this is the one with She Sells Sanctuary, A Revolution, and Rain. I prefer the actual first album as a whole, but those three tracks are better than anything off the first album. And then Pure Cult, the singles, and basically I think this is all I need. It's a double album. That was originally a single CD that came out either in the 90s, I think it was. Culture Club and Kissing to Be Clever, and this is the one with I'll Tumble For You, and the big hit Do You Really Want to Hurt Me, which I hated at the time, but I actually do like it now. This is actually not too bad. And then their big hit is Colour by Numbers with Karma Chameleon, Victims, and It's a Miracle, and The Brilliant Church of the Poison Mind. I think I prefer the first album though. And then we have The Cure, The Head on the Door, which is a recent purchase, and this is the one with In Between Days and Close to You on it, and this is a really, really good album. And then the last one for today is The Cure again, and Standing on a Beach, the singles, which I think is very good, and especially like the first side of the really early ones. I think they're very moody, atmospheric, but this does feature my all-time favourite Cure song, and that is The Caterpillar. So that's CL to CU. That's the end of the C's. In the next video, part 5, I'll start on the D's. Okay, that's me for now. I'll have that next video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.